I embrace imperfection as much as I embrace the pursuit of perfection.
On Sunday, November 28th, the world stopped when the news broke. Just a month after his 41st birthday, fashion and culture icon Virgil Abloh had died. It's hard to sum up his seemingly infinite impact, from creating a scholarship fund, renovating basketball facilities in Garfield Park, building a skate park in Ghana, to what he is known for best, bridging the gap between streetwear and luxury brands. At the time of his death, he was at the peak of his career. In July, the iconic luxury brand Louis Vuitton announced their major investment into his brand, Off-White, and created a partnership with Abloh. All while battling a secret 2-year fight with cardiac angiosarcoma, a rare form of cancer in the heart. Abloh was born in Rockford, Illinois, to Ghanaian immigrants. He studied civil engineering at the University of Wisconsin and found his way back to Chicago through getting his master's degree in architecture at the Illinois Institute of Technology. It was here that he fell in love with design. In 2009, after interning at Fendi with Kanye West, his career catalyzed into the mainstream fashion culture. Although his battle was out of the public eye, that was not the only mystery about him. He was an artist in every aspect, every dimension of his life, and regardless of his fame, he treated everyone as a friend. Chuck Anderson, artist and creative and founder of No Pattern Studio, is a co-founder of The Brilliance, one of the first internet blogs in the early 2000s about culture, fashion, or whatever he and his friend Benjamin Edgar Gott wanted to talk about. He first met Virgil over an email.
We started a blog that was really based on our emails together. Like he and I would email just like constantly every day, just ideas and just talking and sharing links and all this stuff. And we started a blog that we ended up calling The Brilliance. We would get emails all the time, like submissions and people like writing in or like trying to send their links and blah, blah, blah. And then we'd also get people hitting us up and be like, hey, are you looking for writers? Like, I'd love to write for you. And Ben and I were adamant, no, like, it's just me and Ben. This is our thing. And then one day we got an email from a kid named Virgil Abloh, who was a architecture student at the time and had some like fledgling little projects and things he was doing. He reached out and like, he just said like, yeah, I love what you guys are doing. Like, I think he wrote some sample posts maybe. And like, I wrote this in my Instagram post, and I'm not just saying this like with the benefit of hindsight. Like there really was a tone of voice in his email that he came off really different. And that was in probably late 2005 or early 2006. And then, yeah, like the three of us, like it was only ever the three of us. We never added, we still maintain I just paid the hosting fee for it the other day. I call it like very internet because like the friendship began because of the internet. It began over an email. And then inevitably, like we got together. I think the first time the three of us got together in person, I want to say was like at a Buffalo Wild Wings in like Tinley Park. Like through it all and through all like the craziness and like the fame and everything, he was just very normal. Like he made people feel like they were the only one that he was talking to. And I think that's why you see so many stories that feel so, like it's really wild to go on Instagram and see so many unique stories for someone. You feel like each person's talking like he was their best friend. And it's because I think he really genuinely had a gift of making people feel like they were kind of the only person that, you know, he was very present. Like when he was there, he was really with you. He was really hanging out with you and stuff. And I think, you know, in this day and age, that's a pretty rare quality. Virgil stayed very much a kid, you know, like even in experience and like adulthood, he stayed very much, he was very much like one of us, you know, like he was always like, he was as much a fan as he was the person like kind of in charge, you know, as much as he was the glue guy and the person that brought everyone together, he was like never going to be up on stage. He was going to be in the crowd. Like he was, you know, like he was a participant. He was, you know, I think that's really a cool thing. I think that's very rare. Like he never kind of got so in his own head that he was like above it all. I think he was just as fascinated with his position as anybody else was. I think there was a real sort of genuine like, wow, like I'm really here. I'm really walking up the steps to the Louis Vuitton office in Paris right now. And they're giving me the keys and letting me do what I want. Like a kid from, like a black kid from Ghana to Rockford to Chicago. Like it's just that there's not another story in I mean, you just can't find stories like that, like virtually anywhere at all, let alone in the echelon that he made it to. And so the impact he had is so immense. There's artists who I think of, like, I'm 36 and I met him when I was 18 and like I saw the rise, but there's kids who I know who are like 20 who Virgil's now been like a pretty big deal for 10 years or so. And they've grown up with this guy as this like sort of this force, this role model, but for sports and for fashion and for art and architecture, I mean, a true, like, as much as one can be a Renaissance person, Virgil was that, and he was good at all of it. He's a master delegator, a master of like finding good people and then empowering those people. I think that's probably one of the rarest and most like just irreplaceable skill sets that you just like. He was really good at getting the best out of like really interesting people who were maybe not on like the radar because they didn't have like the resume, but he just knew that they were right from like the vibe. There was a mystique about him nonetheless. As public as he was, I think there was still an air of mystery about him that kept people guessing and intrigued, and his ability to kind of have this high low, like sort of this like punk rock, hip hop, like do whatever we want, but also like in the establishment, felt very like storm the gates and like now I'm in and now you can't do anything about it. That's very cool. Like, what artist doesn't aspire to you know to kind of break through and be given like the keys because they proved that, you know, they had it in them to do such a thing and be responsible with it. I think that was just like, that's all just mind blowing to me. I was working on a project for Nike 2 years ago that was very much centered around him. It was called the Recreation Center. It was in Chicago at Nike Lab. And I worked both on the agency side. So I was like working on the production, like kind of concept side of the project and like the physical build out of the space. But I was also one of the artists that was considered like one of the mentors to a group of students. And the culmination of this was, it was like they were like considered the class of 2019. And so like throughout the summer, over a course of months, they all kind of did like one-on-one sort of like courses with each of us. Now think about, these are all like 20 to 25-year-olds, and they're just like kind of pretty starstruck and in awe. His MCA like blue shoe had just come out. They were all gifted a pair. This is 2 years ago, so I don't know if he must have been already dealing with like some of the illness, I would imagine. Watched him kind of go from like truly just like exhausted to giving each of these kids like real time of day. Like, looked them in the eye, listened to their idea, gave them some feedback or gave them some praise or said just enough to make them feel seen and that their project was special, or you'd ask them a question or whatever, each one. And there was, I think, 10. And it was pretty amazing because like, I don't know, a lot of people would have phoned that in, and he didn't phone that in.
Virgil Abloh was so many things to so many people. To Carly Thornton, he was her mentor at the Nike Lab Recreation Center. During her time there, she founded Froskate.
So Froskate is a skate collective that I founded in 2019 while I was actually in the Nike and Virgil program. But it is a skate collective that aims to bring more of the BIPOC, queer, femme, trans, non-binary community into skateboarding. Just being able to like show Nike and Virgil just the work that I was doing in the skateboarding community in Chicago was just a great start to have. And since then we've done like campaigns with Nike. They've partnered with us on events, and we still have some projects that we're working on with them as well in the future. But another relationship that we built was, he saw that we had a slogan, Black Skaters Matter, and really loved it and was like really inspired by it. And he gifted Stevie Williams a box of Virgil Abloh shoes with Nike, some off-whites, and they had Black Skaters Matter like written on the box. And so yeah, after that, our people, you know, were like commenting because they noticed that that was happening. And we reached out to him acknowledging like that had happened, and he reached out to us just like supporting us and a lot, just being like, oh, like what you have is really cool. You know, he's finally kind of like actually putting a face again to like what he saw earlier in the Nike program to now like the stages that it was in. We were at like over 10K followers like at that time, and just like have done so many different events within the community. So he was like, oh, like this is happening like in my city, like in Chicago, and I want to support you all. And he asked what we needed. And at the time we were giving away a lot of skateboards. So I was like, yeah, like we can take maybe some skateboards or something. And so he connected us with DGK and had like a concierge show up to my house in an Escalade with like a crap ton of boxes of just like 30 complete skateboards and helmets and padding for us to give away. And he was like, yeah, like we can do like some press around it if you want. And I was like, no, like this is fine. Like I just like am so appreciative that like you did this for us. Like we're just gonna give them away. And we've given them all away. This year we actually just ended the year with in October, and we were able to finish off our supply and give away all the skateboards to Black and brown young people. That was at the end of the Nike Lab program that we were in with Virgil, and he came in town and he was giving us all our final critiques on our installation builds that really like wrapped up what the whole 6-week mentorship program was about. And I was showing him the booth that I had created, which was kind of like a dressing room that was just like rethought and reimagined in a different way. And it just had mirrors all over the entire room. And it had this graphic manipulation art that I love to do with a fellow skater friend of mine, Timmy Johnson, who was skating throughout like a forest scene. And so I was walking him through the meaning behind my piece. And he was telling me like, this is so amazing. And like, just keep doing like what you're doing. And, you know, like, I don't know, just him being able to give just like positive words of encouragement towards like something that I had been working on for like 6 weeks was great to hear, but also just like him being someone who is so multifaceted and who does things that's not just photography or design or fashion, like he does it all. And people are often telling you to like choose one thing. So for him to see something of mine that was like very extra and be like, this is great, and like you don't really need to like tone it down, you know, it was like reaffirming. Most recently, helped one of my friends, Sandy, who is the founder of Surf Ghana in Accra, Ghana. And they actually just together, Virgil helped to make the first skate park in Ghana. And it's just finished like I think as of this week. Yeah, it's called Freedom Skate Park. And quite literally, he saw Surf Ghana and they connected, and he was like, how can I support you? And they were like, we want to do a skate park. We were like, we'll get skateboards. Virgil himself has just had such a large impact on my life, even in like the smallest ways that like you wouldn't think from like the program and different things that happen with that and things are going to be happening in the future with just like my personal life and pro skate and my art. But I don't know, I remember when it happened, like my whole mentorship group, we were just like giving everyone condolences and like words of love, because that was such a pivotal moment for us, and he was such an inspiration to us, and we were actually just like a part of his legacy, right? So like he was able to give back through us, and for us to be able to like have that connection is just like, it's kind of just like a different level of appreciation for someone that you look up to. I'm just constantly even more inspired by the fact that he was able to push and break down so many other barriers and boundaries for our people, which is something that I strive to do every day and through Pro Skate. And I'm also just like even more inspired and encouraged to move on all the ideas that I have. Like he was very much a person that was like, okay, I have an idea, I want to act on it, I'm not going to sleep on it. Now I'm like staring at things I need to do, and I'm like, you know, Virgil would want me to get this done. He would want to see this idea come to life. I'm also like sad because there's other things that I still wanted to do with him as well. And just like, I know that he would have been he was already an amazing supporter of us. So I don't know, I'm definitely sad to like see his passing, because I know he had so much more life to live. He was a great guy who just wanted to help and inspire and encourage people. Yeah.
Like the shortest few words, the best possible thing is at the end of his debut Louis Vuitton show, he posted a photo of him walking that, like the infamous rainbow runway. And head in his hands, just like overwhelmed, had just hugged Kanye, was about to walk. And he posted a photo of that moment. And then all the caption said was, "You can do it too."
I hope that through my narrative, people see that in themselves, that anything is achievable.